What clicked about a student after meeting his parents? I've been teaching 5th grade at Roosevelt Elementary for 9 years, and Kevin Martinez had me completely stumped for the first half of the semester. Kevin was this hyperactive kid who couldn't sit still for more than 30 seconds. He'd bounce his leg constantly, drum his fingers on his desk, and find excuses to sharpen his pencil every few minutes. During reading time, he'd fidget with everything: his shoelaces, the corner of his worksheet, the zipper on his backpack. I tried all the usual strategies: proximity seating, fidget toys, frequent breaks. Nothing worked. The worst part was how his constant movement affected the other students. Sarah Chen sat next to him and complained daily that Kevin was distracting her. During silent work time, Kevin would hum under his breath or tap out rhythms with his pencil. I'd relocated him 3 times, but the problem followed him everywhere. His academic work was another puzzle. Kevin was clearly intelligent, but his assignments were a mess. His handwriting looked like he'd written while riding in a car on a bumpy road. Math problems that he could solve verbally were covered in eraser marks and crossouts when he tried to write them down. His essays had brilliant ideas buried under spelling errors and sentences that wandered off mid-thought. By November, I was at my wit's end. I'd started keeping Kevin inside during recess to finish work, which only made his afternoon behavior worse. I was dreading the parent conference because I figured I'd be dealing with either defensive parents or ones who'd lecture me about not being creative enough with my teaching methods. Conference night arrived, and I was running late. Kevin's parents were scheduled for 6 p.m., but it was 6:15 when I finally made it back to my classroom from the parking lot. I was rushing down the hallway when I heard music coming from my room. I opened the door to find Kevin sitting at the piano in our classroom corner, playing some complex jazz piece I didn't recognize. His parents were standing behind him, smiling. This was the same kid who couldn't sit still long enough to write his name neatly, but his fingers were moving across the keys with perfect precision and control. "Mrs. Rodriguez," said his father, extending his hand. "I'm Miguel Martinez, and this is my wife, Carmen. Sorry we're running a bit late. Kevin wanted to show us your classroom piano." Carmen smiled apologetically. "We hope it's okay. Kevin's been talking about this piano all semester." I watched Kevin finish the piece, his whole body swaying with the music, but in a controlled, purposeful way. When he was done, he spun around on the piano bench with the biggest grin I'd seen from him all year. "Mrs. Rodriguez, did you know this piano is a 1987 Yamaha upright? It's got the same action as the one we have at home, but the tone is a little brighter because of the room acoustics." I stared at him. This was more technical language than I'd heard Kevin use all semester, and he was sitting perfectly still while he talked about something he cared about. "Kevin's been playing since he was 4, Miguel explained. "He practices 2 hours every day after school, then has lessons on Saturday mornings," Carmen added. "He also plays violin and is learning cello. Music is really his language." Suddenly, everything about Kevin clicked into place. The constant finger drumming wasn't random fidgeting. He was playing pieces in his head. The leg bouncing was keeping time to internal rhythms. The humming during work time wasn't distraction. He was literally thinking in musical patterns. "The reason Kevin has trouble with writing assignments," Miguel continued, "is that he thinks in sounds and rhythms, not linear sentences. At home, we let him compose his thoughts on the piano first, then translate them into words." Carmen pulled out her phone and showed me a video of Kevin at home. He was sitting at a beautiful grand piano, playing an original composition while talking through a book report about Charlotte's Web. The music seemed to help organize his thoughts, and his verbal analysis of the book was sophisticated and insightful. "Kevin has synesthesia," Carmen explained. "He sees music as colors and shapes, and he experiences academic concepts as musical patterns. Traditional classroom environments can be overwhelming because he's processing everything through multiple sensory channels simultaneously." I felt like an idiot. For months, I'd been trying to suppress the very thing that helped Kevin learn. His movement wasn't hyperactivity. It was his brain's way of processing information through physical rhythm. "Would it be possible for Kevin to use the classroom piano during independent work time?" Miguel asked. "Even just 5 minutes to help him organize his thoughts before writing assignments?" After that conference, I completely changed my approach with Kevin. I let him stand at a tall table during lessons, gave him opportunities to explain his thinking verbally before writing, and yes, allowed brief piano sessions to help him process complex ideas. The transformation was incredible. Kevin's writing improved dramatically when he could compose his thoughts first. His math work became neater when I let him tap out the rhythm of multiplication tables. Even his social interactions improved because he was less agitated and more focused. The other students became fascinated by Kevin's musical abilities. He started playing background music during art time and helping classmates learn their times tables through songs he composed. By the end of the year, Kevin had become one of my most successful students, not because he'd learned to sit still and conform, but because I'd finally understood that his brain worked differently, and that difference was actually a strength. On the last day of school, Kevin played a goodbye song he'd written for the class. As I listened to this beautiful, complex piece created by a 10-year-old, I realized he'd been trying to share this gift with us all along. I just hadn't known how to list.